Leo, let me be clear from the very beginning. A massive money blessing is headed your way on October 7th and 8th. And no, that's not some vague cosmic wish, it's a clear message that came through with precision, clarity, and timing that can't be ignored. If you're watching this right now, it's because something bigger than you brought you here. Maybe you've been feeling it lately, that quiet restlessness, that strange anticipation in your gut, like something's about to shift. That's not anxiety. That's your inner compass waking up. Something in you knows there's more coming. And you're right. This message isn't for everyone. But it is for you, the Leo who's been putting in the work, showing up, staying strong, even when no one noticed. That Leo who never gave up, even when the universe seemed silent. This is your moment. The window between October 7th and 8th is not random. It's an alignment. A very specific opening in the skies, a trine between the Sun in Libra and Pluto in Capricorn that hits your energetic field like a financial reset button. It's not subtle. It's not symbolic. It's real. So, here's the invitation. Prepare your bag. Not metaphorically, literally. Make space. Make a move. Create a shift in your world that tells the universe you're ready. Because the blessing is coming whether you're ready or not. The only question is, will you have the room, the mindset, the courage to receive it? I want to say thank you for being here. I know your time is valuable. Every like, every comment, every share, every time you choose to show up to this space, you're not just supporting this channel, you're planting seeds for your own expansion. You're claiming your space in something that's bigger than just astrology. This is about alignment. About you stepping into the version of yourself you always knew you could become. Now let me ask you something, Leo. What happened this week that pulled you here? What signs have been showing up in your life lately? Think back. Did someone say something that hit a little different? Did you dream something strange? Did money cross your mind in a way that felt urgent or divine? Comment below and tell me. Let's name it. Let's bring it into the light. When you type the words, "I'm ready for my Leo blessing," you're not just typing for the algorithm. You're saying to the universe, I'm here. I'm awake. I'm willing. And I'm not waiting any longer. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what I'm about to share next, from astrology to tarot, from energetic rituals to practical shifts, is going to give you exactly what you need to understand the timing, the opportunity, and the reason why this is showing up for you now, not later. You don't need to prove your worth anymore. You don't need to chase. You've already attracted this moment. All you need now is to stand still, open the door, and say yes. Are you ready? Let's begin. Something happens in the air when the Sun forms a trine with Pluto, not just in the stars, but in us. And on October 7th and 8th, that cosmic current becomes undeniable. This alignment between the Sun in Libra and Pluto in Capricorn isn't just some poetic concept tucked away in a horoscope column. It's an energetic shift that's rooted in something deep, ancient, and profoundly real, the call to reclaim your power. For Leo, this is personal. You feel it in your chest, don't you? Like a door you've been standing in front of for too long is finally unlocking, and something inside you, something wise, knows it's time to walk through. When the Sun and Pluto harmonize, they invite us to step into light after we've made peace with our shadows. This is why so many people feel raw or stirred up before big transformations, because the universe doesn't hand us change without asking us to prepare for it. But this time, you're not being asked to fix, hustle, or control. You're being asked to receive. That's a shift. That's maturity. And that's what this moment, this Golden Gate, in early October is about. It's less about chasing success and more about becoming the person who naturally attracts it. The one who walks into the room and doesn't need to say anything, because their presence says everything. If I could show you what this looks like energetically, it would be the image of a king or queen who has wandered through years of self-doubt, sacrifice, and behind-the-scenes effort, and who now finally hears the echo of the crown being returned. Not because they demanded it, but because they've quietly become the kind of leader who no longer needs to prove. That's you, Leo. Or at least, it can be. The Ten of Pentacles confirms this. It's the card that speaks not just of wealth, but of legacy. Of roots. Of building something real, not quick wins or superficial gains, but generational foundations. When this card shows up, especially in a reading tied to a Pluto-Sun alignment, it's asking you to take a long, honest look at what you're truly building, and more importantly, whether your inner world is strong enough to hold it. Because money will come. Opportunities will knock. But what makes it last is how solid you've become on the inside. That's where true wealth starts, not with the check, but with the calm you carry when everything around you shifts. And you may already be noticing signs: strange dreams, tension in the body, flashes of memory or inspiration that seem to come from nowhere. That's not coincidence. That's the energetic field of Pluto doing its work, surfacing the old so you can welcome the new. And as it happens, you're not meant to control it. Just stay present. Breathe through it. And notice. Notice what's being rearranged. Sometimes healing doesn't look like light pouring in. Sometimes it looks like an internal earthquake. That quietly clears the way. We often talk about trusting divine timing, but we rarely talk about the discipline it takes to actually pause and receive when that timing arrives. That's the real work here, and it's subtle. It's not about doing more. It's about being still enough to notice when the moment is finally here, and being clear enough to say yes when it knocks. So ask yourself, are you willing to receive what you've been asking for? Are you willing to let go of the struggle long enough to let the blessing in? Drop a comment if you've been feeling this shift too, even if you can't explain it yet. Sometimes all it takes to activate the next phase is simply admitting that something's moving. That something's coming. And that you're ready to open the door. Some beliefs don't show up with loud voices. They whisper. Quietly, consistently, and often without your permission. And the most dangerous ones are the ones that sound responsible. Money has to be earned the hard way. It never lasts. I'm not good with finances. These aren't facts. They're programs quietly running in the background of your life, shaping how much you allow yourself to receive, how long you hold on to abundance, and how safe you feel when you have more than you need. The truth is, most of us inherited these beliefs long before we understood what money even was. We watched the people around us work themselves into exhaustion, stress over bills, or silently carry guilt whenever they had too much. So we learned to equate wealth with struggle. And even now, no matter how much work you do on the outside, if these internal patterns stay unchecked, they quietly cap your capacity for ease. Let's be honest here. There's a part of you that still feels like you have to prove something to earn more. That you have to grind harder, stay busier, or sacrifice joy to be worthy of wealth. But that story doesn't serve you anymore. In fact, it's likely the very reason things haven't been flowing. The universe responds not just to your effort, but to your energy. If you're carrying guilt, fear, or shame around money, you're unconsciously pushing away the very blessings you've been asking for. So I want to invite you into a different kind of practice. Not hustle. Not control. But release. Close your eyes for a second, take a deep breath, and picture yourself holding a box. Inside that box are all the old ideas that have weighed you down, ideas about not being smart enough, disciplined enough, responsible enough to hold real wealth. And now imagine setting that box down. You're not throwing it away. You're just choosing to stop carrying it. Because you don't need it where you're going. This is what healing looks like, sometimes. Not some dramatic breakthrough, but a quiet, internal decision to stop believing in stories that never belonged to you. This is how space gets created. Not just in your mind, but in your energy field. Space that money, real, lasting, soul-aligned money can flow into. And maybe that sounds simple. Maybe even too easy. But ease isn't the enemy. In fact, it's often the very frequency that abundance resonates with. You don't need to suffer your way into worthiness. That idea has taken up enough of your life. This next chapter doesn't require your blood, sweat, and tears. It asks for your openness, your trust, and your willingness to let go of old armor that no longer protects, it only weighs you down. You are allowed to receive without guilt. You are allowed to thrive without over-explaining. You are allowed to hold success without constantly fearing it will slip away. And most importantly, you are allowed to rewrite the story of what abundance looks and feels like for you. If that stirs something in you, don't ignore it. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Share it in the comments if you feel moved. What belief about money are you ready to release? Sometimes, naming it is the first step in reclaiming your power. And this moment, this shift is inviting you to do exactly that. Not because you've earned it the hard way, but because you've finally stopped believing you had to. It's easy to think that big change requires big moves. That if you want a financial breakthrough, you need to overhaul your life, take risks that terrify you, or wait for the perfect opportunity to magically arrive. But Leo, what if the real shift starts in something smaller, quieter, something so simple, it almost feels too ordinary to matter? In my experience, what unlocks abundance is rarely dramatic. It's consistent. It's grounded. It's intentional. And sometimes it begins with something as small as choosing a new wallet, not because you want to spend more, but because you're making room. You're sending a message to your subconscious: I believe more is coming, and I am ready to carry it with grace. It might sound silly to the logical mind, but to your energy field, to your frequency, that act is loud and clear. There's a principle in energy work that says the universe mirrors your readiness. Not your wishes. Not your longing. But your action. And not action fueled by anxiety or desperation, action grounded in calm expectation. That's what law of attraction teaches us. What you embody, you invite. So when you act like someone who already trusts money is on the way, you shift from chasing to receiving. You become magnetic. Try this for a moment. Create a folder on your desktop or your phone, and label it, Money That's Already Mine. Inside it, keep copies of your financial dreams, screenshots, notes, journal entries, ideas for projects or investments. Not because they've happened yet, but because you're creating space. And space is what money needs. Not urgency. Not tension. Space. And each morning, maybe before checking your messages, before opening your calendar, take a few minutes to write out affirmations. Not just ones you've seen online, but words that feel true to you. Words like, I trust money to find me with ease, or, my finances reflect the love and clarity I give them. Write them out like prayers, like seeds. You don't need to yell them. Whisper if you want. But say them like you mean them. Say them like you already believe them, or at least like you're trying to. From there, pick 3 small actions that support your next level. Not 10. Not everything at once. Just 3. Maybe it's watching a video on budgeting with confidence instead of fear. Maybe it's organizing your receipts. Maybe it's finally opening that investment account. These are not chores, they're declarations. Each one says, I am showing up for the wealth I've asked for. I know it's tempting to wait until you feel ready. Until the fear goes away. But here's the truth, readiness isn't a feeling. It's a choice. And every time you take a small, clear step, you build momentum. You build belief. And belief becomes behavior, and behavior becomes results. So ask yourself, honestly, what have I done this week to prepare for what I say I want? Not in theory. In action. Because every action, no matter how small, is a seed. And trust me, when you plant those seeds with intention and care, the garden grows even if you don't see it right away. If you've done something already, even the tiniest thing, tell me in the comments. Let yourself name it. Let it be real. And if you haven't yet, let this be the nudge you needed to start. Because sometimes, the only thing standing between you and the next level of your abundance is one small, sacred step. Colors and numbers aren't just decorations or coincidences. They carry frequencies, real, measurable vibrations, and when you understand how to work with them consciously, they become part of your alignment toolkit. That may sound mystical at first, but pause for a second and think about it. Haven't you ever walked into a room painted in a deep golden tone and immediately felt uplifted, more empowered, even if you didn't know why? Or have you noticed a certain number sequence showing up over and over on receipts, license plates, or even the time and something inside you quietly stirred, like a whisper saying, pay attention? This isn't magic. It's resonance. And resonance is where transformation begins. In astrology and energy healing, we often speak about alignment not just with planets, but with frequencies. Leo, your energy is already radiant, bold, and fiercely magnetic. But even the brightest fire benefits from intentional fuel. That's where color and number frequencies come in, not as superstition, but as symbols and anchors. Think of them as tuning forks that help bring your energy into harmony with what you desire. And when it comes to wealth, confidence, and high-value opportunity, certain frequencies are especially potent right now, especially for you. Gold is not just a color. It is the essence of trust, visibility, and abundance. It tells the world, and more importantly, it tells your subconscious that you are not afraid of being seen. That you're not hiding. That you are worthy of wealth that shines and lasts. Wearing even a touch of gold, especially around October 7th and 8th, can be a gentle yet powerful affirmation that you are stepping into a space of full financial ownership, not just waiting for blessings, but embodying them. Then there's ruby red. Deep, grounded, regal. This isn't the red of urgency or danger. It's the red of royal lineage, of rooted confidence. It says, I carry the wealth of generations in my blood. I walk as if I've already inherited what's mine. Ruby red grounds your manifestation energy. It pulls your visions out of the clouds and into the soil where real things grow. Try incorporating it into your clothes, your workspace, even your journal entries during this window. Let it remind you that you're not just attracting wealth, you're preparing to hold it. And when we speak of numbers, we're not speaking randomly. 888 is one of the clearest signals of financial momentum in motion. It's not a promise, it's a pulse. It shows up when the flow is beginning to align. It's an invitation to stay steady, to trust that even if the full breakthrough hasn't appeared, the energy is already working on your behalf. The number 10 adds to that. It's the full circle, the moment when what you've planted begins to bear fruit. Completion. Culmination. And 7. 7 is quiet power. It's the number of trust, of inner knowing, of believing without seeing. It appears not to confirm your results, but to strengthen your faith while you're still waiting. So here's what you can do: write these numbers in a place you'll see often. Make one your phone background. Scribble it on a post-it and put it on your mirror. Not because it will bring luck, but because it will remind you of what you're calibrating to. It keeps you in tune. And when you're tuned in, you notice the openings you would have missed before. You move differently. You choose with more clarity. If you've noticed a number repeating lately, even if it seemed random, write it in the comments. Let's speak it out. Let's witness what your energy is already trying to tell you. Because this isn't about superstition. This is about awareness. And when you become aware, you become powerful. When you choose to align, even in small symbolic ways, you send a ripple into your field that says, I'm ready. I'm receiving. I know this blessing is already on its way. There's a quiet knowing inside you that doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It speaks in whispers, in nudges, in the way your body tenses or relaxes without explanation. It shows up in a dream you wake from but can't quite shake, in a sudden urge to take a different street, in a name that pops into your mind for no apparent reason. We call this intuition. But in astrology, in tarot, in energy work, it's so much more than that. It's guidance. It's alignment. It's the conversation between your soul and the world you can't always see. Around October 6th to 8th, this internal voice gets louder. Not because it's changed, but because the outer noise begins to quiet. That's what this alignment is offering you. Space. Space to hear what's already been speaking to you for a while. And in readings surrounding this time, the card that keeps appearing for Leo is the High Priestess. She's not a teacher in the traditional sense. She doesn't hand you answers. She holds a mirror. She reminds you that what you're looking for, the clarity, the next step, the confirmation, is already within you. The only thing required is the willingness to listen. And listening, real listening, takes trust. Not blind faith. But a relationship with yourself that says, I don't have to fully understand this to honor it. That's where many of us get stuck. We've been trained to doubt anything that doesn't come with proof, data, or logic. But Leo, you've never been someone who lives only in logic. You're heart-led, fire-born. Your brilliance is in your ability to feel and move and act sometimes before the facts are in. That's not recklessness. That's intuitive leadership. And right now, the universe is asking you to reclaim that. So if something has been pulling at you, a decision, a shift, a direction that makes no sense on paper but feels deeply right, pay attention. Write it down. Sit with it. Don't rush to validate it externally. The fact that it came to you is enough. And if you've been ignoring that inner nudge, hoping for something more concrete, maybe this is the sign you've been asking for. Maybe you don't need 100% certainty to move. Maybe 51% is enough to take the next step, to trust the unfolding. Because what happens when you do, is extraordinary. That's when life meets you. That's when synchronicity kicks in. That's when the so-called coincidences become unmistakable confirmations that you were always being guided. You're not walking this alone. And no, I don't mean that in some abstract way. I mean, you've already been sensing what's next. You've already had moments of clarity, of direction, of knowing. Maybe you brushed them off. Maybe fear drowned them out. That's okay. But now this window is an invitation to tune back in. To rebuild the relationship with that voice inside you, the one that knew before the world told you to doubt. So take time during these days. Journal what comes up, even if it doesn't make sense. Notice what or who appears in your path. Pay attention to the feelings that rise suddenly and seem to want to stay. They're not distractions. They're signals. And when you honor them, even quietly, you shift. Your energy shifts. Your direction clarifies. You remember that you're not waiting for guidance. You're listening for it. And it's been here, waiting for you to believe it again. If this speaks to something inside you, even something you haven't put words to yet, say it. Comment. Claim it. Let that small act of acknowledgement be your step forward. You don't need to see the whole map. You just need to respond to the part that's lighting up right now. And trust that when you do, everything else will begin to unfold exactly as it's meant to. And now, dear Leo, as we come to the end of this journey together, I want to remind you of something simple but powerful. You don't need to do more to be worthy of what's coming. The money blessing that's arriving, it's not about proving anything to anyone. It's not a reward for how much you've suffered or how hard you've worked. It's a reflection of who you already are. You are the light. You are the magnet. You are the answer you've been waiting for. Throughout this video, we've talked about real things. Actions you can take. Energies you can align with. Beliefs you're finally ready to release. And none of it was meant to be overwhelming or complicated. In fact, that's the whole point. It doesn't need to be hard anymore. Your financial shift doesn't require a fight. It asks for alignment. For clarity. For trust. So let me ask you this, Leo, what's the one step from this video that felt the most personal to you? Was it the idea of preparing your energetic space with colors and numbers that carry meaning? Was it the gentle push to let go of old beliefs around money and self-worth? Or maybe it was the moment you remembered that your inner voice, that soft but steady intuition, has been right all along. Take a second to breathe with that. Let it land. And now, will you take action on it? Not tomorrow. Not when everything is perfect. But now, in your own small, intentional way. What would it feel like to finally say, "I'm ready"? What would it look like to start living as if the universe is already answering you? If this message resonated with you, I'd love for you to take a moment and comment below. I am ready for my Leo millions. Write it not just for me, not just for the algorithm, but as a declaration, a living, breathing affirmation that you're no longer playing small with your dreams. And if you're feeling brave or simply connected, share which part of this journey spoke to you most. I read your comments. I hold space for your stories. And here at Eternal Mindfulness, we're not just viewers passing through, we're a growing circle of souls who are remembering how powerful we truly are. Thank you for your presence today. For your trust. For your time. Every like, every share, every moment you spend engaging with this content allows me to keep showing up for you with messages that go deeper than just prediction. They are messages of transformation, restoration, and choice. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Not out of obligation, but because this space is here to walk with you as you create your own breakthroughs, not wait for them. So, Leo, what's next? That's not a rhetorical question. That's your invitation. What are you going to do with what you now know? What will you shift, today, to make room for what you ask the universe to send? You are the creator of your reality. You choose what to believe. You choose what to release. You choose what to open up to, and I promise you, the universe is always listening. Stay close, stay bold, and stay open. Your golden season has only just begun.